What is the most inoffensive thing you've seen someone get offended by? One time someone got offended when I put on my seatbelt, thought I was commenting on her ability to drive. Same thing happened to me. The Uber driver said, "Do you wear your seatbelt when you're with your dad?" I said yes. I don't know. He died in a tragic car accident when I was 5 and all my seatbelt memories are oppressed. What of it? Maybe 22 years ago, I had a phone interview with a baking company. I didn't care to have my peers know what I was up to, so I took the call on my cell phone in my car. The call was crystal clear and no technical issues. At one point, they had mentioned the weather and asked how it was where I was. I told him that I was sitting in my car and I could see that it was actively snowing and whatnot. The interviewer asked me, "Are you taking this call on a cell phone?" I told him I was. Then he asked me if I thought that was appropriate. I asked him what he meant by that. He said he thought it was kind of rude to take a formal call on a cell phone. I told him I would be more than happy to conclude the interview if talking on a cell phone was an issue. If he was interested, I'd be happy to continue it the next day when I'd be at a desk. He again repeated how rude he thought it was that I had called from a cell phone and that there was no need to continue the interview process. I disagreed with the first point, but did agree with the second. To this day, I wonder what the hell he was talking about and where he was coming from. Probably just got over the fact that telephones exist and wasn't ready to accept the fact that mobile phones aren't a thing made by the devil. If you're religious and ignorant enough, everything is made by the devil. While working tech support back during the dot-com boom, I had a customer get upset with me over the use of the word icon. He said it had religious implications and he insisted I call Windows icons little picture things. Off topic, but this reminds me of my 4-year-old niece who calls commercials skip ads. To be fair, every time they come up there's a label in the bottom right that says skip ads. What's it going to be other than a label? A button? That would be ridiculous. I got in trouble in kindergarten for saying the word dead. Apparently it was too violent. My siblings are monitored on their phones for safety. Don't worry Reddit, I'm the one who controls it, and I'm sure it's not extreme or detrimental to them. My sister got an alert for violence. The culprit? A picture of mouthwash. I had a friend who had parental controls on his computer, and it kicked in when he looked up a fingering chart for band. When I was a child, my mum paid for something with a check. The cashier remarked that my mum had nice handwriting. My mum flew off the handle, and we had to storm out of the shop in outrage. To this day, I have no idea what happened. Maybe it brought up sore feelings from when she failed the doctor entrance exams. Please go write for some show. This is the best cutaway joke that never happened. Had someone get offended by me calling my brother bro. They insisted that I was racist and that white people can't be related to Mexicans. Like seriously lady, that's not how genetics work. We are 100% related and are a mix of white and Native American. It's not that unheard of for one biological sibling to come out lighter or darker than the other. And even if we weren't related, seriously, I'm racist for calling someone close to me my bro despite being different skin tones? Seriously? Thank you for coming to my rant session. Have a good day. I had someone scoff and ask me how I, a white person, have a Latina cousin. It's like they don't realize two people of different races can have kids together. My sister and I look about as much alike as Thor and Loki. Same parents. We just scored really different genes. Teachers didn't believe us when we told them we were sisters. Genetics are weird sometimes, sorry. This is within a year after the DADT repeal. Part of the repeal was that, obviously, you can't make fun of people for their sexual preference, so calling people gay was out. Was getting directions to a coworker's house. He lived on Gay Street. Our supervisor got belligerent about how we can't say that, even after explaining how it was the street name. I love that his takeaway from don't make fun of people for being gay was, don't even say the word gay. That's some Michael Scott crap. This is sadly how America seems to be trying to be more inclusive and sensitive. Not by actually being more inclusive and sensitive, but overall strictly demonizing words and semantics. The attitudes on both sides reek of authoritarianism in different forms. I'm a disabled person. My life sucks because of my disability, and no longer being able to do the things I used to love makes me quite depressed sometimes. Some asshole tried to lecture me about how I was stupid for wishing there was a cure for my disability. Frick me for not enjoying being in constant pain and possibly ending up in a wheelchair in the future, I guess. I remember I once got in an argument with someone on Tumblr because they stated it's offensive for me to not want to have my anxiety and I should be proud of it. No thanks, Becky. I'd rather be able to live my life without the constant feeling that something's going to go wrong. This guy at a Halloween party I was at was dressed in a giant bacon costume. Some girl was yelling at him for being so offensive toward Jews and Muslims. She was neither Jewish nor Muslim. One of the Muslim guys at the party asked her what the hell she was talking about, but she didn't back down. I have no idea why people feel they need to go out of their way to be, inaccurately, offended on behalf of other cultures/religions. Reminds me of a news story I saw a while ago. A Muslim family moved to a mostly white town. The white people decided it would help them feel more welcome if they removed every book from the library that had anything to do with pigs or bacon. I guess, just because you can't eat it, you shouldn't see it, or read about it either. I mean, they're a little confused, but they've got the spirit. I sang the song Hit the Road Jack to a kid I just beat in a game, while in the 3rd grade mockingly. He took that as me calling him a jackass. He told the recess monitor this. I was told to stand against a wall away from the rest of the kids with the recess monitor. I'm now 27 now, married with 2 kids, but I will never forget this. If you ever see this, I didn't call you a jackass, Jard, but now, frick you forever. Upvoting so Jard will see this. My parents are abusive and have called my sisters and I every name in the book. Pretty sure idiot was said to me more than my name. In a fight, my sister called my dad a fool when he was throwing a hissy fit. He flipped his crap and couldn't fathom being called something more offensive. He called me and told me what she said, and I laughed at him. Now my sister and I laugh all the time about how crazy our parents are. One time my dad told me to go to bed. I said, "Oh, man," a common colloquial expression of disappointment. He grounded me for addressing him as man instead of dad. What? My dad once got mad because he called me a son of a bitch and I laughed. I had a coworker who got mad at me because I asked her not to tickle me. That's inappropriate at work. B. We are not children. We are not in a relationship. We are not family. C. I don't like being tickled. She flipped out and said everyone likes being tickled, and I was being mean to her. Happily my boss had my back. Also, some people start swinging punches when they get tickled. It's not safe to do it to anyone randomly. I kick when tickled, so yeah, I agree. People get very offended that I don't like being touched. Right here. My dad thinks it's funny to keep grabbing Miney in the car, and I guess seeing how much he can piss me off. He knows I don't like to be touched. OMG. My dad constantly messes with me and my stepmom and thinks it's so funny when we get mad off. I know he doesn't mean it to be mean or creepy or anything, but just stop already. One of the big things for me has always been that I hated people touching my hair, and people would do it all the damn time, even after I politely asked them not to. Is it so hard to just not touch someone else without their permission? It's specific to France. In French we have a way to address for a man, monsieur, a married woman, madame, an unmarried woman, mademoiselle, and we used to have one for an unmarried man, mon damoiseau, which disappeared from official paperworks since I don't even know when. In the name of gender equality, mademoiselle was also removed a few years ago from official paperwork. Also, in the name of gender equality, some employee were told to not call young women mademoiselle anymore and to go with madam. So the trick is, some women will get offended when called madam because it makes them feel old, and some women will get offended when called mademoiselle because it's sexist. Clerks are doomed. I took French classes for 2 years, and all 3 of my French teachers, 2 actually being from France, never taught us mon damoiseau. I had no clue that was a thing. Lol, that's so cool. Over here in the States we only have Mr. for the men and Mrs., Miss, and Miss for the women, and it all depends on if they are married or not. It's a bit annoying. Actually, if you want to be incredibly formal or just southern, the term for a male child is master and miss for females. But obviously, that's not really a thing these days, unless your grandmother made you take formal lessons in manners, etc. Using a walking stick. I was in a car accident a few years ago, and it messed my leg up. Since then I've been using a walking stick. I was walking to shop, pre-pandemic, and an old bloke gave me the dirtiest look I've ever seen. "What do you need a cane for? You're only a kid." He actually got quite pissy just seeing me using a stick. Like, "My dude, I'm just out trying to buy some milk. I don't need your crap today." I didn't say that out loud, I just said it to myself after I got home. Tell him the car crash didn't ask for your ID first. I wouldn't be able to come up with this even in the shower. I managed a small new team that had no procedures or policies, so I set about instituting some. I mean, you never know, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow, and then no one would know how to process these requests. I told them, when asking for their feedback, and for them to write up how they did their tasks. Then we would come back together, and decide best practices in a meeting. Little man filed a complaint to the manager for my use of violent imagery, and said that he felt threatened. It was a whole thing. Ultimately, he got fired, frick him. Bye. Lol, I literally refer to it with my team as a bus factor. I assume it's common. My dad loves to tell the story of how, shortly after they were married, he and mom went to get some fast food. As they pulled up to the drive-thru window, my very conservative mom saw a sign that said condiments available upon request and said, "OMG, that's disgusting. Why would a restaurant feel the need to give those out?" She had misread it and thought they were giving out condoms upon request. Even if it did say condoms, they're in a package, right? It's not like they are giving out used ones. If they were giving out condoms, which they weren't, well, our biz has to make horsey sauce somehow. I still remember in kindergarten when my friend and I were reading all the colors out loud on one of those Crayon super packs. I got straight up yelled at and sent to the principal's office for saying orange pizzazz because the teacher said I called someone a pissass and would not listen despite having the crayon as evidence. After a 30-minute scolding and waiting for my mom to leave work to pick me up for my suspension, she came in all apologetic. When I explained to her the whole situation, not the school's side, Ma went ape crap. I'd heard her say crap once, that's the only swear I ever heard from her, and we had just been rear-ended in traffic. How about idiot? Can he say idiot? Because you're all being idiots right now. This is so ridiculous. And just went off, while I'm sitting there with my jaw dropped, and the principal is just red as a tomato. I got UN suspended on the spot, but she pulled me out of school for the day anyway. We had a lovely day and she explained very well how I shouldn't swear like that unless absolutely necessary, and I've exhausted all civility. When being civil simply isn't working, sometimes you might have to call someone a pissass. The next day at school, I learned that I now had the stigma of being the kid who got the Crayola super pack taken away. That is ridiculous to punish such a young child so harshly, even if you had actually said pissass. And to take away the whole pack of crayons? Jesus, just take out orange. Reminds me of the time a babysitter misheard me say Santa Claus is a peanut, don't ask, and yelled at me for calling Santa a peen. I was 5, and it made me cry.